Snagged with emotion, I sit, quite still as teeth chattering, eyes darting left to right. I search the room for other signs of life. Common sense tells me I'm alone, but something else, something base, something primal, tells me I'm not. Straining my ears, I listen, but all I hear are the familiar sounds of the house waking up. A whooshing boiler, hiccuping radiators, and creaking floorboards. Outside, it's the same. A soprano of birdsong, a car door slamming, footsteps along the street, and the short toll of a church bell. Unresolved trauma, I tell myself, dragging the duvet to my chin, my fingers corpse white. Sad but relieved, my shoulders relax, and I find myself breathing normally again. I'm not going mad. He isn't here, and nor was he. It was just a dream, albeit one I've had many times before. Chapter 1. Jill hugged her mug with both hands and took another sip of coffee, her eye drawn to the gallery of sticky-fingered drawings and paintings covering the fridge. From there her gaze drifted, as it always did, to the picture on the wall, where another child's drawing of a heart, creased and dog-eared, hung in a frame. Worthless to anyone else, it was priceless to her. She looked away again, tears pricking her eyes. Get a grip, she reminded herself. Mary would be round shortly, and the last thing she wanted was for her to think she'd been crying. Not that Mary would mind. She was an angel, and Jill was so glad of her friendship. She wondered, though, if her grief would lessen over time, if there would come a day that she didn't think about that terrible morning and everything that followed. It was almost 2 years since it happened, and it still felt as raw now as it did then. So she doubted it. Glancing at the calendar on the wall, she sighed. It was the 1st of December. That meant she had 25 days to prepare herself, or, as she preferred to think of it, 25 days to get her shit together. She'd already decided to keep the build-up to Christmas to a minimum, to do as little as she could get away with. But as yet, she still had no plans for the day itself. If she lived alone, she'd ignore it completely. And not just Christmas Day, the whole thing. There'd be no tree, no decorations, and no Christmas shopping. And come Christmas morning, she'd keep the curtains drawn and stay in bed all day, reading and drinking coffee. Lunch would be soup and bread, and in the evening she might watch a film or two. Just nothing festive. On the following day, Boxing Day, she'd head for the beach and walk the length and breadth of it until, hopefully too tired to think any more, she'd head home and fall into bed, ready to start work again the next day. But she didn't live alone. She lived with a 6-year-old, and for his sake, and his sake alone, she'd do her best to make it special. Somehow or another, she'd find the strength to do what she'd need to do, to get by. With one exception. Christmas Day. She couldn't and wouldn't go through a repeat of last year. As for the year before, well, she wouldn't wish that on anyone. No, this year, although she'd try to make it fun for Jack, she was resolute. Christmas Day would have to be different. A tap on the window made her jump. Seconds later, she heard the front door open, and Mary ambled in, unbuttoning her coat. "Oh, but Jesus, it's Baltic out there," she said, draping it over one of the kitchen chairs, as static like a minor fireworks display shot from the hat that she yanked off her head. Jill grinned. There was something about Mary, about her energy, the way she walked into a room, her thick Irish accent that always lifted her spirits. "Is your man still sleeping?" she asked. Jill nodded and pointed to the radiator. His uniform's there, and the kettle's just boiled. "Well then," Mary replied, glancing at the clock on the wall, which showed a little after 6:30 a.m. "Away with you. I'll make myself a nice cup of tea, so I will. Read another chapter of my book."